Did you enjoy skee ball as a kid? At one point, did you realize you just had to be faster than your dad, not stronger than him in order not to get beat? And when you're driving your friends around in your car, is it kind of fun to go a little too fast, go a little near the edge just to bother them? Well, good Lord have mercy, have you found yourself to be the perfect person to play Sonic the Hedgehog? Sonic is the perfect commander to start throwing down in your turn and chucking creatures. Gone are the days or going through Moxfield and searching for that perfect creature, getting attached to it, putting it on the ground, and then it dying before it ever gets to swing. Our Barbie Mobile has a full car battery strapped to it. We zippin', baby. But this is fast in a fun way. We're not like combo decks. We're not out here trying to puff a magic trick and then instantly end the game out of nowhere. No, we're the car that comes blindingly around the corner. You'll see it, for a couple seconds, but it's coming fast. Not only that, the CMC of this deck is so insanely low, you get to chuck things constantly. There is never a boring turn. I've now played 4 games with this deck in practice, which trust me is a lot more than most YouTubers who make lists like this. I actually play the decks I make. And so far, I've been able to play a creature on turn 1, 2, 3, 4 in that order, no problems, and then start slamming even bigger things on turn 5, all for $50 or less. Yeah, that's right, Manipool, not TCG player. Manipool has this right now at under $50 for total value. Then on the other side of this, I pulled out cards that have recently come out and some bangers that could be in your bulk box to upgrade this. And then I'm gonna show you the exact cards to take out of the $50 list and upgrade with cards you might already have, or you might want to go purchase. So welcome to the channel. I am not some fancy deck list. You could go on Moxfield for that. No, here on DefCat MTG, I teach you how to pilot. But in this case, you're gonna be the race car driver, baby. It's time you go fast. So in these videos, we handle 3 things. 1, what should your opening hand look like? 2, what should you be doing by turn 5 with this deck? And 3, how does it win? Because let's be real, if you want to take a deck and go bring it to F&M, you need to know what to keep in your opening hand so you don't get screwed. You need to know what your game plan is, i.e. what happens by turn 5. And number 3, you gotta close it out. We don't want no 3-hour game. And once we cover this, I'm giving you guys the full deck list and we're gonna go run down card by card so I can tell you what to do and how to play each one the best. Then we'll go over upgrades. Upgrade. Did y'all know I could dance? I'm on a small green screen, so I can't go too wild. Opening hands. You either want 3 lands or 2 lands and a mana rock. The idea is by turn 4, you'll most likely find another land. And then you're gonna want at least 2 creatures with haste or flash. And then the non-required spice that isn't needed to keep the hand, but is something really fun to look for, is something that draws you cards due to the things in your hand. That's all you need. 3 lands, or 2 lands and a mana rock, and at least 2 haste or flash creatures. So why are we keeping this hand? Well, let's look at where you're supposed to be by turn 5. By turn 5 or turn 4, you should be slamming Sonic the Hedgehog, swinging in, and then he's gonna give all your hasty and flash creatures, which you should have built up on your board state by now, a +1/+1 counter. And guess what? That's literally 90% of the creatures in this deck. It's super easy to get them. And then you can haphazardly swing them into whoever you want, because if they die or get dealt damage by being blocked, you create a tapped treasure token, baby. That means next turn, you're gonna have all the fuel you need to start slamming down more creatures. And this deck is full of ways to draw cards due to creatures either dying or being played. But are you really gonna win just by slamming a bunch of small hasty creatures constantly? No. So let's talk about how this deck actually wins. Sonic the Hedgehog's 3rd ability gives us this awesome way to build up an insane amount of mana and cast a giant X spell or big creatures. Now, if you look through the list, you don't see any of that. You don't see any big X spells or big giant creatures. That's because what I have built is pure flavor fun. This $50 core list is perfect at functioning on its own. But due to the fact you make so much mana with Sonic, you get to put in whatever giant, huge pet cards you want into this deck. So go into your bulk, go find whatever is in these colors that you want to cast that's too big and throw it in, because you're gonna be able to jam them, baby. Maybe you still have a bunch of those creatures laying around from Ikoria that are gigantic, or maybe some of those Godzilla cards. Throw them in, bad boy, because we're gonna make a ton of mana with Pyrohemia. This enchantment says for 1 red, deal 1 damage to each creature and player. That means pay 1 red, and if you have a bunch of hasty creatures out, which by the way should all have +1/+1s from Sonic's ability, you're gonna make like 4 treasures. So then you can spam this, make a bunch of treasures, get back to your next turn, and jam some huge creatures. And the good thing is you can activate this ability on someone else's end step before your turn, so it's not like you have to wait a whole turn cycle, so it's not super telegraphed. So in conclusion, this is a deck that mulligans super easy, gets a bunch on the board, super versatile, and allows you to put in whatever giant janky things you want into the deck. It is a really good engine. Well, let me tell you what's in the deck. For Planeswalkers, we got Tibalt. Tibalt says our opponents can't gain life. Then it gives us a little 1/1 creature that once we swing it out or use it as a blocker, can then deal 1 damage to one of our own creatures, making you a tap treasure token. Creatures! I have never looked upon this amount of haste in my entire life, and I love it. 32 of our 40 creatures feature either flash or haste or a way to give another creature haste. And then the other creatures that we have in here make a ton of tokens. One of the best things we can do is get Anger into our graveyard. Anger says as long as you control a mountain and he's in your graveyard, all of your creatures have haste, meaning all of your 1/1 tokens have haste, meaning when they swing in, they all get a bunch of +1s, and man does this deck grow quickly. Then we got creatures like Felden that allow us to make hasty copy tokens, dual casters to copy whatever crazy instant or sorceries that our opponents are doing that we may want. We got Krenko that we can very easily give haste that pumps us out a ton of 1/1 tokens. We got Welcoming Vampire that allow us to draw cards when we're constantly dropping these creatures on our board. We got Combat Celebrant to help us close out a game with an extra combat step. I mean, this list is just full of creatures that do lots of little awesome things, all for super cheap that we get down super early, normally before Sonic's even out. And then of course our little pseudo combat trick, Village Bellringer, flash that bad boy in, untap everything, block people. And of course once we upgrade, Village Bellringer does something even more exciting for those who already know. I even threw a Deceiver Exarch in. When we upgrade it, this will pair with Splinterton for an infinite combo. Instance! I threw in Reinforcements so we can get back a ton of the hasty creatures. We got Thrill of Possibility so we can possibly discard Anger. Sublime Epiphany if we ever need a big Hail Mary value piece later game. We've got all these tap treasures, we need something to do with them. Got a Lightning Bolt for some extra removal. And then I threw in Counterspell and Born Upon a Wind. Born Upon a Wind is a card that scales with the quality of the deck. So Born Upon a Wind is going to get better the more you upgrade, but it's still really good in the base version. Artifacts. We're playing Sonic, so I added the rings. We got Ring of Thune, Ring of Evos Isle, and Ring of Valkus. They all do little fun things, a little bit of protection, a little bit of buffing. They're just funny and flavorful and cheap. And then the rest of this is mana so we can get hopefully Sonic out on turn 3 instead of 4. Enchantments. Felidar Retreat is massive. I do not know why this card is so cheap. It makes no sense to me. When a land hits the battlefield, you put a +1/+1 counter on all your creatures and they gain Vigilance. So when you upgrade this deck and put the fetch lands in, woo! Tocasia's Welcome. This draws you a card every time you drop a creature that is mana value 3 or less. The good thing is it doesn't say cast, it just says when it enters. So if one of your tokens is made, this will also happen. We got Leyline of Anticipation. That way we can hold back anything we need to and flash it in. It's a nice, cheap, fun inclusion in the base set of this. And then our big card we mentioned earlier, Pyrohemia. Now, let's go on to the upgrade. All the lands that are currently in the sideboard can be moved to the main board and replace all of the basic lands that are currently there. Once you've done this, you can then take fetch lands and put them in wherever you feel like you need the most colors. After that, we replace the 3 ring artifacts with these 3 spells: Twin Flame, Molten Replication, and Heat Shimmer. This ends up being a infinite combo with Dual Caster Mate. Awesome upgrade for the deck. After that, we replace these 4 creatures with these 4 creatures: Kiki Jiki, Goldspan Dragon, Snapcaster Mage, and Legion Loyalist. After that, we replace Reinforcements, Sublime Epiphany, and Lightning Bolt for Deflecting Swat, Fierce Guardianship, and the One Ring, getting us up to bracket 3. From there, the rest of the upgrades listed in the Mox field are for you to pick and choose what you would like to pull out and what you enjoy playing. Sonic is an excellent deck that punches really hard, and I think it does best at bracket 3. Once you go up to bracket 4, you're gonna have to sacrifice a lot of what makes this deck fun and functional for counter spells and interaction in order to stop combo players, because around bracket 4, that's when you're gonna get into combos. Depending on if your bracket 3 meta near you has a lot of combo, you may want to slot in some counter spells as well. Playing this deck is a ton of fun, super fast paced, you get to swing in a lot and play a lot of creatures, and that's just something I haven't done since I really started getting into Magic. I think this is an excellently designed commander that's super fun and you guys should have a blast with. I have a bunch of huge products that I've been planning that I said I'd bring out today, but sadly I had to postpone them due to some family stuff going on. But I have a ton of really cool things coming out soon as a result of hitting 10K and wanting to give back to the community. I'm so excited to show you guys. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe. This has been DefCat.